Should I be taking supplements? That's a really good question. And that's what we're going to address today on Real Talk. They say you need a reset. They say you're too old to start over. They say wellness comes with a large price tag. But sometimes, often, they are wrong. Hi there, I'm Julie Brooks, Juliebrooks.life, and on Real Talk, we sometimes have conversations with other people where I interview them about wellness in their life, maybe in their family, possibly their community at large, and sometimes just me and you guys talking about health in general. Or sometimes I'm just venting and ranting, let's be honest now. Today we are going to talk about supplementation. But before we get into the should you take supplements, we're going to talk about what supplementation actually means. So, many people think, oh, I saw this on TikTok and it's supposed to be good for me, so I take it. That is not what we should be doing with supplements, ever. Even if it's a great supplement, just because you saw it on TikTok or your brother or sister or mother, whomever is taking it, doesn't mean it's for you. What you have to do is see if you are getting the right nutrients for your body, your activity level, or your job, whatever it is. And if you are not, then you might need to supplement. Or you might need to shift your nutrients, what you're eating on a daily basis. So, I wanted to talk to you guys about some of the things that maybe you do need to supplement in. And I say maybe with such an exclamation mark, can't even say the word, such an exclamation mark, because I don't know you. I don't know what you're eating. I don't know if you're working out or not. I don't know what area you live in. I don't know all of these things. That's why I do assessments. That's why anybody in the health world should be doing an assessment, actually finding these things out. Be very careful of somebody that just says, without talking to you, without knowing what you've got on board, take this. Just be very careful of that. If people know you, if you've had a conversation, if you've maybe even done some tests, that's a different story. All right, so I want to talk to you guys today about some of the things that are probably reaching epidemic level in North America. Now, I have not studied every country around the world, so I prefer not to speak to every country at large. I like to stick to North America. That's where I live. That's what I do. So, we're going to start with one of the big ones, and that is vitamin D, the sunshine vitamin. And it's called the sunshine vitamin because that's primarily where we get it. Here's the stats, guys. 40% of the population is clinically deficient in vitamin D. 40%. But here's the even scarier thing. 90% of the population is barely reaching survival levels of vitamin D. What does that mean? That means that your body cannot put the calcium where it needs it, so you don't have those strong bones. Do you know how many people actually pass away because they've broken a hip, because they've broken a leg? All kinds of things can happen when you have deficiencies in your bones. So, vitamin D is extremely important. Make sure that you are getting enough. If you are not aware, if you eat fatty fish or eggs, they actually have vitamin D in them. Now, some of you are going to be, oh, my orange juice says it has vitamin D in it. Try not to get things like orange juice fortified with vitamin D because the orange juice, not so great. It's just straight sugar. So then you're causing another issue, is all I'm going to say. All right, so that's vitamin D. And please, as we go along, I want you to know that I am super happy to have conversations about any of the things that we talk about here. So make your comments and ask for tips. I do a tip of the day on Facebook, and then I put it out in other places as well, but I do it on Facebook. So if you are interested in hearing about a certain thing, If I don't already know about it, I will either find somebody who does and interview them, or I will research it and bring you my thoughts on it. That's an interesting one. Let's just put a little pin in the supplements for a second there and talk about when somebody, just like me, is telling you, absolutely, I'm looking up statistics. I've researched it 30 plus years in helping people be well. But what's really fascinating is it's still my opinion. It is my interpretation of these things. So just remember that. Remember to feel through all of the advice that you get. Make sure it makes sense for you. All right. So let's move on to my favorite, and I'll get into why it's my favorite. Magnesium. 45 to 50% of the population is not getting enough just for, again, survival. And what I mean by that is with magnesium in particular, it helps with over 300 different things in the body to do with your nervous system, to do with your muscular system. It has so many things that it helps with, and we are not getting enough of it. Here's an indicator. So I love avocados, and I eat an avocado every single day. But an entire avocado, which is 200 plus calories for a whole avocado, so you got to pay attention to that too, where your average fruit and vegetables 20, it only has 50 milligrams of magnesium. What we need is around 400, depending on who you are. Women, they say just under 400. Men, they say just over 400. And really that depends on if you need to up your magnesium level. The suggestions for people who are having issues with cramps and, a bunch of other things with nerve issues, they might need to up level that. You can also use magnesium when you're in pain. It was a game changer for my back when I hurt my lower back. Anyway, but it can't just be, oh, look, magnesium on the shelf. Off I go. I'm going to use this. First of all, every time, try and get your nutrients from your food. When that fails you, and it may, try and get the right type of magnesium. Now, I always suggest magnesium glycinate or bisglycinate, and it's because it's more bioavailable, so your body uses it easier. I personally use a liquid. In my head, see how that's an interpretation. In my head, liquid is more absorbable, and it seems to work really well for me, so use your own discretion. But nervous system, muscular system, really important to get enough magnesium, and we simply are not. Okay, potassium. This one's a big guy, the big one, guys, like really big, bigger than I even thought. Like I knew that we were deficient in potassium, but do you realize that 97% of the population is deficient in it? 97%. That is an astronomical number. The way they word it is 3% is getting enough potassium. Like, no, I'm going to punch people in the eye with this one. 97% is not getting enough. That's crazy. That's your heart health that you're messing with, just so you know. Now, when I say messing with, always remember that you have to make sure that you are getting the right type of these things, the right amount of these things. So even, I joke, don't go onto TikTok and just start taking whatever they say. You are now on YouTube. Don't just go, I need potassium, and run out and get it. Please talk to a healthcare provider. I am more than happy to do an assessment with you, but don't just go rogue. You know what I'm saying? That can be very dangerous. All right. So next, we're going to talk about calcium. Now, calcium is also a huge deficiency, and of course, if you're not getting enough calcium, then you're not having healthy bones. The really cool thing about magnesium and calcium is they do work together, and you should have about, this is the last numbers that I read. Please remember, science always progresses. So if you're watching this video, it's 2026 right now. If you're watching this video in 2050, probably all BS. Probably doesn't matter. Think about that when you watch stuff from the 90s. Just saying. So, if you are watching this in 2026, the statistics, the science says you should have twice as much calcium as you do magnesium. So if you're not getting any calcium and you're not eating a diet rich in calcium, you know you're low on magnesium, you're going to have to up that calcium as well. Just saying. And you can do that by eating foods that have calcium. I will never suggest that you have to take a pill or a powder. You can absolutely get it from your food. Sometimes you just can't eat as much as you would need to. All right. Next one and last one I'm going to talk about is vitamin B6 and vitamin B12. Now, if you are eating a predominantly vegetarian or vegan lifestyle, you are not getting enough of these. Vitamin B is our stress vitamin. Now, there's a series of, I think there's 8 vitamin Bs, if I'm not mistaken. There's like a whole bunch, and they're under different, like pantothenic acid is actually vitamin B, niacin, vitamin B. So there's a bunch of different names, but it's all different numbers of vitamin B. Meat is where you are going to find your vitamin B. Organ meats have a plethora of it. So if you are eating a vegan diet, you are very likely low on vitamin B. Again, it is the stress vitamin, which means that it helps your body deal with all the stress hormones and stressful lifestyle, of course, and damage and all that other fun stuff. So please know that vitamin B is important. Now, the whole point of this episode of Real Talk was, do I need to take supplements? Well, I don't know if you need to take supplements. I'm happy to help you find out. What I'll do is I'll actually take all the supplements people are taking, and I would love it if some of my past clients would, just a thumbs up if they've done this with me. We go through your supplements, and I cannot tell you how many times people are taking things that they don't need to take at all, or they've got gold in their little bucket of supplements and they're not taking it. They're like, yeah, somebody told me to take this and I grabbed it. I'm like, oh, I love that you have this. They're like, yeah, I don't really take it. Take it. If you need it, absolutely take it. Supplements are not the same as a medication. Now, I'm glad that we have medications, although never in the history of ever has your body broken down because of a lack of medication. Always in the history of ever, your body breaks down because it's not getting enough nutrients. Got that? See how that goes? So, glad that we have medication because sometimes in crisis we need to rescue ourselves. But that's not how supplements work. Supplements work that you take this extra vitamin, mineral, nutrient when you are low in it, when you're not getting enough out of your diet. Now, if as you progress through life, you're like, oh, I'm no longer wanting to be vegan, or I'm no longer eating a carnivore diet, or whatever it is that you're going through right then, you also have to evaluate your supplements because you might not need it anymore, or you might need different ones. Hopefully that makes sense. All right, I'm going to keep this relatively short today. I just wanted to share that little bit with you, a little bit of real talk, that just be aware. Don't take things because somebody else was taking it. Don't take things because it looked good or they said on the commercial that it's essential for you, because commercials are going to say that. That's called marketing. Thank you guys so much for your time today. Now, I love interviewing other people that are way smarter than me most of the time. So if you either have something that you want to say on health and wellness, or maybe you know somebody that would be a really cool interview that you would love to watch, please don't hesitate to reach out. Let me know. You can reach me at Juliebrooks.life. And I look forward to seeing you guys next week. Bye for now.